There has been a drive to remove me from the scene. A wish that I should disappear. And I will explain where it comes from and why perhaps it is important that I deal with in this commission. And it arises out of perhaps my work in the ANC, and also because of who I am. This conspiracy against me has been stretched at all material times when there are things to be done or said. It has come in different forms, and that's why there are even people who say I've got a way of trying to dodge things in one form or the other. And I'm going to connect the dots over a decade that talk to this point and talk to why I'm here. As you know, in 1990, the ANC was unbanned. And I was one of those who was sent ahead of everyone to make contact with the then government to study the process of finding a solution in this country. People referred to it as talks about talks. I then became part of the negotiating team, and we finally reached a point where those who were in prison were out, those who were in exile came back. At that time, my specific task, among many, was to be the Chief of Intelligence of the African National Congress. In other words, I was part of the leadership at that very sensitive area with my late comrade, John Nhlanhla, leaving many things, just to go to the point straight. In 1990, when we were already inside the country, I received a report, an intelligence report, which was saying there were 3 intelligence organizations that met, had a meeting to discuss me. And had a plan to begin in 1990 a process of character assassination of Zuma. two of these organizations came from two different big countries, and one of them came from inside South Africa which was one of the structures under apartheid, which was part of this conspiracy. When I received this report, had a discussion with my colleague Nhlanhla. We did not know what is the reason. We're very keen to hear why must Zuma's character be assassinated. I then used the knowledge we had to ask this question and get an answer. But to those who would be receiving the question and giving an answer, they should not know that this question comes from me, because we had people in the intelligence, had a lot of networkings and networks, as well as people dealing with different things. So we sent the question. After a brief period, the answer came back. The answer was, the reason why we wanted to character assassinate the Zuma's character was because he has a lot of information that he holds. Among that type of information, as a chief of intelligence, there are spies that are infiltrated by us in his organization. Whom we want to nurture, that they grow within the structures of the ANC to a point that at some point they will have to lead the ANC. Now, Zuma has information about these. We don't know when will he use his information to stop that process, that plan of theirs. And therefore, they took a decision that Zuma must be removed from decision-making structures of the ANC. And that's why the character assassination began. That's the beginning of the process that has put me where I am today. And I thought it is important to go through this. Whatever else will be the end of your process, but at least some truth should be known. We handled this at a very, very delicately. Those who are dealing with intelligence, but we're now aware. There was going to be a conference in 1990 of the ANC. It was a consultative conference, not elective conference. But these three organizations thought that it was an elective conference. That's why they were engaging in this plan and this conspiracy. Then the ANC, in the course of the period, was explaining that this was a consultative. So they realized they made a mistake by thinking it was elective. So in the course of the same year, I received another report which said that they have postponed this campaign because they realized this was not an elective conference. So we kept quiet. But the ANC, of course, held that conference. And one of the resolutions of the ANC was that during 1991, it will have its first elective conference in December 1991. And therefore, that was information out there. In 1991, another intelligence information came that said that these three organizations have decided to change their plan slightly, because having investigated further in the ANC, they discovered that this Zuma had a very large support in the ANC and 100% support in the province of Natal. It would not therefore be easy to remove Zuma in the conference that is coming. The time is too short to character assassinate him to a point that you could remove him. What therefore they thought was important for them was to, because they said you cannot remove him from the National Executive Committee, for an example, the decision-making structure. What therefore we should do, which was a fallback plan, that after the elective conference of 1991, Zuma must be removed from the position of Chief of Intelligence. And again, we looked at this and said, there were worrying things. For an example, the issue of the people we are about to negotiate with. What are the thinking that they may not know our own thinking, and we might not know also their own thinking. But what does this mean? So as we were preparing for the conference, it was clear that this first conference was of great interest, not only to South Africa, even for other countries out there. But this information was worrying. In fact, I think there was one article which was as a result of that, but it ended because they realized there were no further things they could do. I'm saying this because there has been a process, and particularly against Jacob Zuma, a conspiracy. I'm sitting there, and I'm told by other organizations that in my organization, as well as in the NEC, there are people who are working for them, whom they want to be in control of this country. It was a worrying point. Leaving aside the information I had, there would have been information I did not have, and perhaps important to try to follow this very closely. Of course, the conference came. In that conference, I was elected Deputy Secretary General of the ANC. And of course, Tambo moved out, and Tata Madiba came in as a president. decision taken by the organization that President Mandela and Thomas Nkobi, who was the Treasurer General, after the conference, they will go to the United States to raise funds. Another decision that Thabo Mbeki and Jacob Zuma, shortly after conference, they will go to attend a conference in UK, which was discussing constitutional matters. And indeed, after all of that, when the NEC has been elected by conference, then the NEC elects the working committee, which runs the matters in between NEC meetings. So we left to our tasks. One day, as we finished the conference and going for supper, I rushed to my room to listen to the BBC Focus on Africa. We're a little bit addicted to it because out there we didn't listen to all the medias from home. Among the reports that were given by the BBC was the report of the meeting of the Working Committee of the ANC, which had met for the first time. And there were two decisions among many that were taken. One was that Thabo Mbeki was removed as the chief negotiator of the ANC, and Jacob Zuma has been removed as the chief of intelligence. When I was going down, I met Comrade Thabo. I said, man, there are decisions that have taken. We are no longer leading us on the negotiations. And he was shocked. But I said, no, that's not the only one. I've also been removed as the chief of intelligence. He was even more shocked, knowing how the ANC deal with things, particularly that you cannot take such a decision when the president of the organization is not there. Why? But to me, and I said to him, you did not know me, I knew that I was going to be removed, but I did not know how. The question that I was asking myself, I received information from intelligence sources that after the conference, I would be not the chief of intelligence. This is supposed to have been planned by these three organizations. Why is it implemented by my national working committee? What does this mean? It therefore was confirming that there may be spies here, because it means there were people, when these intelligence organizations took the decision, that they directed that they must make this to happen. Of course, thereafter, we worked, and we did not even at that time take this matter as a general report in the ANC. We kept it as an intelligence issue. But it's important to say this because the character assassination that I have faced over the years, more than 20 years, this is one of the clear sources that I know.